just, you know, it's a television show for entertainment, and I don't even know what the hell to say. It took me for such a loop. Like, what the heck? But I mean, here I was kind of being lectured by the namaste, you know, find your peace. So I want to put a bindi on me and like center my chakras.
Like,
and I was, yeah, no.
and then were they like, wow, she really is nice.
I did say that. I said, I'm very nice, by the way.
You are nice.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. Like, I think by the end of every season, you're like, you forget. I mean, you start maybe the first episode, but middle, you forget. And certainly by the end, you're like, oh, I mean, listen, we've watched New York. Yes, everyone could argue New York was never the same without Bethany, but I don't, in the end, it got bad, but like, it was fine. Atlanta, yes, Nene was great. I mean, it's not as good as that, but it's going on. Beverly Hills without Lisa's just fine. Like, you just get on. You just get on.
Right.
It's that simple.
But the
Life
thing
moves
is,
on.
with all those shows, there was somebody else that stepped up and filled the void. You know, I think you know, there's only one Bethany, there's only one LVP, there's only one Nene. It's not about replacing them with the same kind of personality, but is there someone else who can hold their own with their own personality? Of course. Of course.
Well, in that article, they either asked or she brought it up. I think they asked her, like, who is going to be the villain now? And Rinna was like, well, that's a really good question. She's like, it would be great if it were Kyle, but Kyle wants to be liked, so it's not going to be her. She's like,
Right.
you know, she's like, it's Sutton and Garcelle. No, they're not going to do it. Like, she's like, that's her point. She's like, there's nobody, everybody there wants to be liked too much. Who's going to be the villain? Crystal? I mean, I think Crystal is probably, I put my money on Crystal. No?
She seems to me like she's too I think she's too sensitive and logical, and she doesn't, you know, she could be the villain, like she can be like, I think she can deliver it, but it's not, I don't think like she has that actress thing in her like Rinna did, like where Rinna can like just channel the villain and like serve it up. I don't think that Crystal has that in her, but they could, I would be willing to bet they have a file of people that have auditioned for the show, like Kyle's enemies, Erica's enemies, Sutton's enemies, and they can just like pull this and say, okay, so who do we throw into the mix? Who do we want them to go after or take down or butt heads with? I would be willing to bet that they have files like that. They don't just keep it in a big, massive file. They have an A pile per cast. Like, yeah, I would think so.
Probably.
For sure. Yeah.
And Rinna was like, Erica's not going to be the villain. Just her whole life is enough for her to just show up for the show. I mean, she's got enough going on.
And now she has another lawsuit by somebody, right? The
I
ticket
saw
people.
that. I saw that.
I mean, even the guy that's paying all of the attorney's fees for her, that money's going to run out sooner or later anyway. Well, who knows? Who knows what they did with all that money? I mean, she spent a lot, but yeah.
And I mean, is this person paying for her? I mean, I don't think Rinna took her to Paris for the week. It seemed like Rinna stayed longer than her, but they were at a, like, you know, I imagine the hotel is more than $1,000 a night, probably.
But if they're guests of whatever fashion house, they can pay for their hotel rooms if they're gonna, you know, that's not a big deal.
Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, if they're sending you clothes and maybe you buy your own plane ticket to get over there. I don't know, but they'll pay for your plane or for your hotel room.
Okay, so
it's clothes for your room. Yeah.
So it's not that. Okay, that makes sense.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do. I mean, like, they're not gonna take down and do Kyle dirty. They're not. I mean, maybe they'll come after her, but maybe. I mean, they're not going to destroy Kyle. There's no way. She is the show. I mean, you talk to everyone on the show. They say, like, even in that scene where she was sitting with Sutton and Garcelle, and people are like, why is she there? I'm like, she's there really for the show. This is what Kyle does. She literally produces it right in front of your face. She asks you the question, like, why did you do that? Like, you know, once you see it, it's hard to not unsee it. And that's not a bad thing. Like, she is keeping the show on track.
Right.
She knows what she's doing.
I agree with you. And I think she's very good at showing a vulnerable side. You know, she cries, she brings the family into it. She shows her house, her kids, her husband, the dogs. She gets upset with her sister. You know, she takes it on the chin. She'll engage if she feels like someone's wronging her. She's very good. You know, and it's funny because we always say like Bethany and Ren are like the goats, but Kyle's, like you said, with a survivor, she's done very well at, you know, staying below the water line and you know, not getting
there's
targeted.
no reason to ever fire her. There's no, and she's not boring. It's not like she's going to be in that, like, you know, where we're like, should we keep Crystal? We're over Dorit. Kyle is just, it's a different thing, which is not, I'm telling you, I think she's the second most protected housewife in all, out of every housewife that's there, like out of every franchise. I really think her and Teresa are the only two that wouldn't be fired. I can't think of one other person. Not one.
Yeah.
Literally not one.
Is New York coming back? What, I missed all of that. Like, did it get canceled already?
Well, the reboot is finished, and apparently that reboot is coming with all the new people. And then the Legacy show, the rumor is, I mean, I know for a fact, unless this person's lying to me, like they offered them really low money for the Legacy, like really low. As soon as they announced that too, I said, they don't want to do this. This is just a marketing ploy to like
to act
keep
like
everyone calm. Right. Because otherwise, what are you going to say? We just fired everyone. There would have been mass uproar. Instead, I mean, how brilliant is that? We're getting two New Yorks. That was so brilliant. We basically fired all these older people, and now we're hiring a totally young cast. And like, oh yeah, there's going to be two. So everyone did rejoicing. And I'm telling you, as soon as that happened, I said, first, we're going to have the reboot. So like, really, you're going to have to like hire the people for the reboot, film the reboot, air the reboot, and do all that. And then I'm like, if this is 2 years away from Legacy, which is what it's turning out to be. And I said, I bet you they're not even going to do this. Well, apparently the contracts went out, which I mean, not apparently, they did go out. I know someone told me directly what they were offered. I mean, said, I'm really pissed off. This is what I was offered. And apparently all the salaries were like between like 15, 17,000 to like 50 to 60,000 for the whole thing. And they were only going to do like,
for the whole season.
They were only going to do 4 to 6 episodes. That's what I was told. So it was this whole, I'm like, God, this is just what I predicted. Well, apparently that one person that was offered the lowest is like, I am so insulted. I'm not going to do this. Now I've heard something else, that someone else who was offered a higher salary, more like in the 50 or 60 range, also was like, I'm not going to do this. So
you can't even like dress yourself for the season.
So it's like, listen, you know how it works in business and in TV, but like you offer the person just what you need to get them to take it. You obviously don't really care about doing the show. Like if these are someone's like, there's no way these salaries are going to be this low. I'm like, I mean, I heard it from like actual people, like not people that work at Bravo, like the actual housewives is what I've heard.
You talked to Luann, so I can figure this out.
No, it's not. Believe it or not, it's not. That's what everyone is saying, but I do talk to Luann, but no, it's not Luann. It's shockingly other sources. Which is
okay.